Hello and welcome to a video that you probably didn't need to know, but in reality you actually find yourself wanting to know about what the end of this video is going to be. If that makes any sense, which it probably doesn't. As I'm sure you are all aware of by now, unless you've been living under a rock or don't have any formal interest in football, Liverpool have been crowned Premier League champions for the first time since 1990, after Man City lost to Chelsea last Thursday, meaning that Liverpool's 23-point lead is insurmountable. However, they are the official Premier League champions. But what about the unofficial Premier League champions? Well, after reading an article in 442 about who the current unofficial world champions are, I thought it would be a great call to find out who the unofficial Premier League champions are at this moment in time. The system which I am going with is similar to that of boxing, whereby in order to be the champions, you have to beat the champions. For example, if we were judging by this season alone, Man City went in as champions, but then Norwich beat them to claim the crown, and then Burnley won against the Canaries to take it, and then Leicester, then back to Man City, and then Wolves, who beat Man City in the next game. You get the idea. For the purposes of this video, I'm only going as far back as 1992 for two reasons. One, if I went back to 1888, the first season of the Football League, it would take me weeks to research. Two, I don't even know who played the first match of the Football League, as all of the first week of fixtures would probably have kicked off at exactly the same time, meaning that it would be impossible to determine who were the champions. Of course, I could go on the notion that Preston won the first ever league in 1889, and therefore they are the champions, and thus it will go from there. But again, as mentioned earlier, it would take a long time to research anyway, and quite frankly, there's only so much patience my mental state can take. So, leading into 1992, Leeds were the last champions of the First Division, so they are the team to beat to claim the crown, going by my system. As a quick disclaimer, if any team gets relegated whilst holding the crown will go to the last team that beat them, provided they weren't relegated too, of course. Without further ado, let's go through the season by season breakdown and find out, at the current day, who the unofficial Premier League champions are. In the first Premier League season, from 1992 to 1993, the champion changed hands a joint record 17 times, but it ended up, by the season's conclusion, in the hands of Norwich City, who actually finished third in the overall Premier League rankings. Each team who win the unofficial league's actual position will be provided as a bit of context. Next season, the belt was passed over to different teams 13 times, with West Ham actually claiming it 3 times, including the last change of the season to give them the championship. They finished 13th in reality that season. For 1994-95, it was Nottingham Forest who took home the unofficial crown, with third being their eventual finish that season. You might be surprised by this, but Nottingham Forest actually went on a 25-game unbeaten run in 1995, and as a result of that, as you might have probably expected, they took home the championship and didn't relinquish it until the following season. However, regrettably, they hold the record for the most emphatic loss of the belt, as Blackburn demolished them 7-0 to not only take the unofficial championship away from them, but also that 25-match unbeaten run. In that season, the runners-up Newcastle ended up with the title of My Champions, and in 1996-97, Aston Villa ended up with their maiden Premier League unofficial title, despite finishing in 5th that season. 1997-98 saw the second season where the belt changed hands 17 times, and Derby, who finished 9th, imaginarily took home the crown on the final day of the season. But the next season, Leeds finally won a trophy, give them a medal. And when they did so, it was the first time that they'd actually won a title bout, and they kept it until the end of the season when they actually finished 4th. The new millennium saw the first, but not the last, instance of a team being relegated whilst holding the crown, as Sheffield Wednesday snatched the title from Leicester on the final day of the season, but ended up going down to the Championship, or the First Division, as it was known back then. As such, going by my criteria, the last team to beat them was Coventry, so they took over the reign. 2000-2001 didn't end with Coventry winning the unofficial or the official league, unsurprising, as they were relegated. But instead, it took its flight to the south coast, as the Saints of Southampton came marching in with the title, not like they knew it of course, whilst also ending up in 10th that season. The season of 2001-2002 was the season where the holders of the belt were vanquished the fewest times in a concluded season, as only 5 teams, namely Leeds, Sunderland, Liverpool, Chelsea and Arsenal, who held onto it for about 29 games, won it, with the latter, perhaps predictably considering their unbeaten streak, ending the season with it. In fact, this is one of only 3 times since 1992, going by my system of course, where both the unofficial and official leagues were won by the same team, as Arsenal ended up as champions in 2001-2002. 2002 to 2003 saw the first double champion of my unofficial league, as Leeds picked up the trophy for a second time, despite finishing in a lowly 15th, the lowest position by a champion not to be relegated. And despite Arsenal going unbeaten throughout the entirety of 2003-2004, they didn't win one title bout that they faced, with Portsmouth ending up with the belt once the music stopped, as they won it on the final day, and for the first time in their history too, ending up in 13th in reality in the league that season. After 13 seasons in 2004-2005, Manchester United, the most successful team in the actual history of the Premier League, finally got their hands on my title on the final day of the season, as they beat to-be relegated Southampton to take the crown, even though they ended up in 3rd in the actual Premier League rankings. 2005-2006, the season which I started to gain a real interest in football, concluded with Blackburn triumphing, as they beat runaway leaders Chelsea just before the season's end to take the trophy, and they finished in 6th. And next season saw our next two-time winners in West Ham of all teams. Little did they know that the run that saved them from relegation of 4 wins in a row, taking them to 15th by the end of the season, also included a win dethroning Everton, who were the belt holders at that point. The next 2 seasons, 2007-2008 and 2008-2009, only saw 6 different keepers of the belt each, with the second place teams from both seasons, Chelsea and Liverpool respectively, ending up with this most coveted of awards. However, Chelsea would go one step further in both the official and unofficial leagues in 2009-10, romping home with both titles to become only the second team to win the both. 2010-11 saw Blackburn, 15th in the actual league, ending up as my champions, becoming another dual winner. And in the season which Man City triumphed in the last minutes, any excuse to bring that up to be honest, in 2011-12, Everton vanquished all comers, kind of, to take the crown that season in my unofficial ranking system. Unfortunately, Spurs ended up with the title in 2012-13.
I know, shameful, I know, it was really awful, I understand this.
But they beat incumbents Man City,
God damn it,
and went unbeaten after that game. Still missing out on Champions League football in reality though, as they finished 5th. However, history was made in 2013-14, as Chelsea, 3rd place in real life that season, won it for an unprecedented 3rd time. Steven Gerrard's slip meant that Liverpool not only lost the actual league, but also the unofficial league, as they were the holders, but lost to Chelsea so that they could take the crown. Arsenal won it on the final day of the 2014-15 season, also, like Chelsea the season before them, finishing in 3rd. The second and final instance of a team being relegated with the crown came in 2015-16, as Newcastle took it from Swansea and finished the season with a 6-match unbeaten run, yet still ended up facing the drop. Southampton, the last team to beat the Magpies before their relegation, thus took the reins of the title leading into 2016-17, where Chelsea again would do the double of proper and imaginary league champions. 2017-18 was a first-time victory on the last day of the campaign for Roy Hodgson's 11th place Crystal Palace, and then Liverpool, who finished 2nd despite accruing a record 97 points in 2018-19, can at least take some comfort in the knowledge that they won the official league for the 2nd time. For those of you who are in the know, you may potentially see where this is going. As of the time of this recording, which is taking place on the day of Liverpool playing Man City in their next title bout, Liverpool are not only the official champions, but also the unofficial champions, going by my system as well. Whoa, hang on a minute, hang on just a minute. Right, so I have a bit of explaining to do. This was actually recorded yesterday evening, about 15 minutes before the game between Liverpool and Man City was due to start. And because I was so unconfident in my own team, I thought Liverpool were going to absolutely thrash Man City, and therefore it was easy for me to record this video before the game started. Unfortunately, well actually, fortunately in one case because, well, it's my team, and unfortunately in another case, I was proven wrong. And so I have to re-record this entire section again because I basically spent about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, basically saying that Liverpool were the current champions of the unofficial Premier League as well as the current champions of the actual Premier League. Whereas now, of course, that is not the case. So we're going to try this again and we're going to get it right this time. So at the moment, as a result of last night's game between Liverpool and Man City, which Man City demolished Liverpool 4-0 somehow, Man City are now the current unofficial Premier League champions, having taken over the title from Liverpool, who actually did, to be fair, hold it for the longest period of time, as they held it for 31 games from their 2-0 win over Chelsea in April 2019 until they lost the belt against Watford in February 2020. So if you've made it this far in the video, then good on you. As a reward, here are some in-depth stats on how many times each team has held the belt. Well, not each team, but some teams. So the teams who have won the most leagues, as you might have guessed by now, are Chelsea with 4. And they also hold the distinction of winning the most title bouts alongside Liverpool with 22 apiece. Arsenal come in third with 21. The team to win the most, but still not win the league at all, was my team, Man City, who just won their 17th title bout last night, but can never finish the job over a season. Maybe they might do it this season, who knows. And the teams to win the fewest title bouts, yet still win a league, were Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace, who won just 2, but as one of them allowed them to win the league on one of their accounts, they therefore have the best title bouts per championship ratio. Only 7 teams didn't win a single title bout, either by not playing the at-the-time victors or by simply losing or drawing against them. Those are Barnsley, Blackpool, Huddersfield, Hull, Ipswich, Reading and Sheffield United. Out of all of those, Ipswich have spent the most time in the top flight since 1992 with 5 seasons, although Sheffield United will spend their 5th season in the top flight next season, whereas Barnsley and Blackpool have only spent 1 season each in the Promised Land. So, in all, if you're expecting a completely rogue team like Bournemouth or Brighton to be the current Premier League champions in my system,
You are sad.
but instead, it's Man City who are the current incumbents of the belt. But that, eventually, wraps up today's video. Thank you very, very much for watching. If you have any thoughts about what's been going on in this video, please do stick them down in the comments below, because I'd love to hear what you guys think about this system. And maybe if you'd like to see more on it, I can maybe expand it to the Liga, Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga, maybe even a few other leagues, who knows. Please give the video a like, comment down below with your thoughts, and maybe even other future video ideas that you want to see from me, and subscribe for more content, because I've got a lot of ideas coming up over the next few weeks and months. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you then.